Hey everyone, Steven here from Redolescence, and welcome back to another fragrance review. Thank you so much for watching. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about a fragrance that I discovered recently. And this one is by a French company called Aubusson, and the fragrance is called Man.aubusson Intense. So let's take a look at the bottle. Here it is. Pretty cool design to it. The cap is also kind of cool. It has a nice little pattern on it, engraved at the top. So this is a fragrance that I actually encountered at TJ Maxx recently for only $5.99. Now, when I looked up the company, I realized that they were established in 1984, and that's when they released their first fragrance, which was, I believe, a chypre for women, and then they released a fragrance called Man.aubusson in 2000. So they have a Man in Blue version, they also have an version, and then I would assume just recently they released one called Man.aubusson Intense, although they did not put a year of release online. But I would take a guess and say that this was released recently. Now, this fragrance has a multitude of different notes, and for a fragrance that was only $5.99 at my local TJ Maxx, I was very excited to blind buy it, and I'm going to be letting you guys know what I think of it in just a little bit. Next up, let's take a look at the presentation. So here you have the logo up here at the top. It's actually two S's that are side by side with one another. What that is supposed to represent, I actually have no idea. Name of the fragrance, name of the company down here at the bottom with the logo once more, the concentration and the size down at the very bottom, and then you have the UPC code, and I know it's very hard to tell, but you have the serial number right below that. On the back, you have the ingredients, some more information, nothing going on at the sides, and that's it for the box. Now, as far as the bottle goes, I think it's a really nice bottle, very cool and unique design to it. Never quite seen something like that before. You have a sticker at the bottom with some pertinent information, which should coincide with the ones found on the box. And as far as the cap goes, it has that same back-to-back S logo on it. The cap does not click into place. It's not heavy at all. It's kind of hard to take off sometimes, so I'm not going to put it on all the way. The distribution is somewhat narrow, so that's another thing that I really don't like, but the bottle looks kind of cool. And that was the presentation for Man.aubusson Intense by Aubusson. So of course, one of the first things that I did when I bought this fragrance is I went online and I wanted to see if there were any other resources online, whether it be on Base Notes or Fragrantica, any sort of websites that gave me any information at all about this $5.99 fragrance that I just bought. So I consulted Fragrantica, and the gods on Fragrantica spoke, and they told me a little bit about this fragrance, the company from which it comes, the ingredients in it, not necessarily the ingredients, but the notes and the note breakdown. So I was taking a look at the note breakdown, and something seemed very familiar as it concerned another fragrance. And right away, just by looking at the note breakdown, I can tell that this is supposed to be a copy of another really popular fragrance, and here it is. Paco Rabanne's 1 Million. Now, the only thing is that they don't smell similar. So one might ask me, well then how do you know it's supposed to be a copy of 1 Million if they don't even smell similar? Because if you look at the note breakdown, they have a lot of the same notes. It doesn't have leather or cinnamon, but it does have like mint, blood orange, some woodsy notes in the base, some herbal notes. So when you look at the notes side by side, there are a lot of similarities, and this definitely does have a sweetness to it. But it has more of a tonka bean sweetness. So if you're familiar with tonka bean, or a naturally occurring compound that's found in tonka bean called coumarin, you would know that this has a very strong vanillic scent with a nutty overtone. And I suppose that sweetness that it does contain is actually rather nice. But it has a very youthful, and might I even go as far as saying a very juvenile feel to it. I feel like it lacks depth and dimension, and I feel like it's relying solely on the sweetness to kind of grab your attention and to make a sale. But when you look at the note breakdown, it's so promising, but it just doesn't deliver. I think the execution was really bad, or I think they just overdid it with the marketing. To the point where it really doesn't fulfill your hopes. So you have notes like water lily, and you have blood orange, you have mint, you have, I think, sandalwood, you have boxwood. That's another unique ingredient in there. You have, I believe, musk and maybe some herbal notes, but then when you look at it, it just smells like coumarin. It just smells like a tonka bean bomb, like a very sweet, even chemically smelling fragrance. Now, do I think it's a bad fragrance? No, I don't. Do I think it's inexpensive and cheap? Not to be so euphemistic. Yeah, I do think it's cheap, not only in terms of price, but also in terms of quality. And I think that if someone were to smell this on you and they know anything about fragrances, they would say you're wearing something very inexpensive, because it does have a molecule in there that you have smelled in dozens, if not more, other fragrances out there that are not hard to come by. So I think that as far as the execution goes, it was really bad. I think the bottle is really cool. I think this scent would work really well for somebody who needs a scent for the gym or something like that to spray on either before you go or after you leave. Or if somebody just needs a fragrance that they can wear casually, I think this one is a go-to. But as far as something to impress someone or to make a statement, something game-changing, groundbreaking, this is not it. I would certainly look elsewhere if that is your prerogative or your goal, if you will. So it doesn't smell bad. My fiance actually liked the way that it smelled, but she herself also told me that she did find it to smell a little bit cheap. So that'll conclude the smell. Last up, we have the rating. First up, we have Uniqueness and overall smell, and I'm going to have to give this fragrance somewhere about a 3 out of 10. Now, once again, this is not a bad smell. It actually smells quite decent. I actually am a big fan of sweeter smelling scents, and this one does kind of cater to my interests a little bit, but you can tell it's very one-dimensional, very linear, and not complex at all. It's a very poorly executed scent, and it smells a little chemically at times as well. If you're a fan of tonka bean and the smell of tonka bean, you might actually like this one, but there are many other better choices out there like Mandarina Duck. And for a Paco Rabanne 1 million clone, if you're looking for something else, I would go with something like Hombre de Oro by Dosis Cologne. This is also a very cheap alternative. I think it's within the range of $15 or $20. Don't quote me on that. But this is another good alternative to 1 million. I'm pretty sure the Insurrection line probably put something out too. I don't know. So yeah, this one is just not great. But if you're looking for something casual and inexpensive, it's a go-to. Longevity on this one is a 4 out of 10. I get 3 to 4 hours on my skin. Projection is also rather poor. I would have to give projection a 2 out of 10. This jumps up off your skin for like a half hour, and then it really diminishes to the point where it's not even perceptible. As far as versatility goes, it's a 5 out of 10. This one, the performance compromises the versatility. If you want to wear this one out in public, you really can't, because nobody's going to smell it on you anyway. So as far as the composition goes, it's a little bit sweeter. You think, oh, this is very appropriate for the colder weather, but it doesn't last, you know? And even if you do wear it in the hotter weather, which I think is really where it shines, if it does any shining at all, it doesn't work too well in the hotter weather either. So I think that that really compromises it. Night out, maybe, but there are so many other fragrances out there that I would rather reach for. This one is more of like a casual scent. As far as age range, keep it young. You know, if you're in high school, early years of college, but even then, you're only looking for something casually, check it out. And lastly, as far as presentation goes, I actually think the bottle design is kind of cool. You know, I gave this one an 8 out of 10, although I'm not a huge fan of the cap. And overall, I'm going to have to give Man.aubusson Intense by Aubusson a 3 out of 10. I think that this one is an okay scent. Once again, the execution is poor, the marketing was just way overdone. The scent is actually rather nice, and if you have an extra $5.99, you're a collector like me, you want to add another bottle to your collection, why not? So there you have it, guys. That was my review on Man.aubusson Intense by Aubusson. If you own or have tried this scent, please let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to rate and subscribe for future videos. So again, guys, thank you very much for watching. This has been Steven with another fragrance review from Redolessence. I'll see you soon.